the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. It's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lydell Dinero, and it's time for another episode of the Best of Bias podcast, starring yours truly, Lydell Dinero, of course. We got some very, very, very special guests in the building today. Who we got in the building, guys? Who we got?
V-Ronz.
V-Ronz, of course, is in the building.
Hey, Biggity.
Hey, Biggity. You got some new faces out here.
Yankydoodle.
And Yankydoodle. Yankydoodle, I feel like, was a part of one of our podcasts before, am I mistaken? Yeah, back in the early stages of the Best of Bias podcast, but we're back now for some fresh topics. We did the preview episode for this season of the challenge, season 37, Spies, Lies, and Allies, if I am correct. All right, yep. And we kind of introduced kind of what the characters are, who they're about, where they're from. But now we actually got to see the characters in action. Episodes 1 and 2 are passed, and we're here to review. You guys ready to review some episodes?
Yes.
You guys ready to spend some time with the Best of Bias family?
Yes.
Sir.
All right, let's get into it. So first and foremost, how do you guys feel about the title, Spies, Lies, and Allies? Do you think it's kind of too similar to last season?
It's a little bit similar. I feel like they needed to recycle some of the props they bought, some of the stuff they did last season, but
Right.
get it.
We've been in the panty. They couldn't get new stuff. And
Right.
I'm interested to see how they tie in the spies part.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some twists with that.
Yes.
Because they haven't
Yes.
mentioned anything about the spies yet. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
that'll be interesting for sure.
What about
I mean,
you,
I think
Yankee?
that part of what they're doing with the way they're calling people like the agency when they win and all that stuff. I don't know if they're gonna do something in a particular kind of way. It just seems like they're using it thematically. So I mean, we'll see what they do. But I mean, I think so far what they're doing with the naming wise, what they're doing, I like it. So
Yeah. I was talking about earlier the production wise of last year. It was really cool. I like how they did the personal voting in the little booth. They got to press the button, and then they got to vote individually. So there's a lot of aspects of the last season I did like that, if they carry over this season, it'll be kind of cool. Jumping into the characters. I know there's a lot of new characters now, a lot of new contestants. If you can remember the names, is there any in specific that you enjoyed from the first couple of episodes? Anybody can start first.
Well, I'm now trying to remember because like one of the things that jumped out to me about this was just not so much specific characters in and of themselves, but the fact that it was so many survivor people here, right?
Right.
Yes, we love Survivor.
And I think that aspect of having so many survivor people in there, it introduces a bit of a different aspect to the game, right? Because you think about the history of the challenge versus history of Survivor, I feel like they socialize a little bit differently. I think they talked about that in the first episode.
Right. Yeah.
And so I feel like some of that is going to be there, and I want to see how much of that carries on through the season, right? Because I think early on, I think people like the veterans are kind of rebelling against that,
right,
to a degree.
Yeah.
So I want to see, because I feel like something about that is going to come into play later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's an important point about the strategy that goes into Survivor. I know it's kind of a different thing of what you were saying, but I think that with Survivor, you rely on strategy. You try to outwit someone. You try to outplay and outlast. That's the same thing you're doing on the challenge. Challenge players and the rookies on the challenge are used to playing against people that are like not in the mode of the game ever. Right. So they can outwit them. They can outlast them. They can outplay them. But it's interesting to see them up against so many survivors. Right. And I think that even though I don't think we've seen a survivor finish, but I think that some of the reason why they're intimidated by players like Jay, like Jay was definitely a target because he had all of the makings of someone that could beat them.
Right.
And he was, from these other shows. They're used to playing for like people that are like Survivor or like what's that? X on the Beach, not Survivor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so it's like, oh, I'm intimidated by you. We got to get you out. In the Survivor cast is building, so it's interesting to see how this is going to shape out. To see more and more of them coming through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me because especially how they have the rookies. There's a bigger number of them than there is the vets.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the manipulator type vets aren't really there, so it's going to be interesting to
Only
see how-
Devin. Only Devin.
Well, Devin, he was still
And
he's still kind of fairly new if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he came from X on the Beach, and that was kind of a newer show that they kind of infused in there.
Yeah.
So Devin is actually going to have his time to shine as one of the master
Because
manipulators.
I don't think he's ever won. He's gotten like third, but I don't think he's ever won.
Right,
Wow.
right. And for some reason this season, everybody loves him. Like, we'll get to it later, but everybody's picking him after
Mhm.
they get to switch partners.
That's
It's-
very
They
interesting.
want
to me.
they want that manipulative,
Well, I love it.
opportunist.
I
Like he
like
loves
that.
them.
So
I
he's
do too.
not afraid
Like there's
to
something
make
about him I
moves.
respect him, but I
Yeah.
cannot stand him.
He's not afraid to make moves.
Right, right, exactly. So I'm interested to see. So I'm just gonna bring it up now. How do you guys feeling about Josh and Nelson being the spokesman for the veteran way, being the people that are talking about, are the people coming to people saying, oh, it's too early to make power moves type shit? Like,
Yeah.
Josh, who are you?
Mm.
Who are
Nelson?
you? Oh my God,
Nelson?
least favorite player of all time.
We
I
didn't
think-
forget that you haven't done anything in the challenge.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
No, Josh is trash for sure. And his social game is not good either. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
doesn't
Really not.
like for him to be as big as he is, he actually doesn't like physically isn't that good either, right? He's very
No.
mid in terms of
Yeah.
like physical. So like him like talking and doing that, I feel like they're giving him his space to do
Yes.
that. Or let him do it because I feel like they're almost, if we're talking Survivor talk, like keep him involved. He's a layup. You keep him in the fold for votes.
Yeah.
And
They
they're
do
gonna
that
burn him
every-
later, right?
every
They can toss him very easily down the
Yeah.
line down the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Nelson, on the other hand,
Really hard for me. No.
He's just I don't know. He's just not that smart. He makes himself sound dumber and dumber each episode.
Yeah.
And now
They
that he's
give him
speaking more.
so many like interviews, and it's just so funny every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
He's a strong competitor. He definitely
Mhm.
has the strength, but every time they let him talk on an interview, it makes us laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's-
So, like, let me ask a question real quick. Do you think that if the more and more we see players, right, when they come back season over season over season, do you think they lose their shine? Because I think like some people, like you think about early CT, right?
Yeah.
Early CT, the people was like
Yeah.
He still has shot.
the best, the greatest, like whatever, right? Well, no, in before like last season, like people was like, I don't know if
Right. Yeah.
you know, I feel like he had a rebound in that case, but I do feel like on the whole, the more and more you see certain people, the less and less that like what's intimidating about them is there. And again, part of that could just be being
Depending
old.
on if they perform each season.
Yeah,
Right.
because I feel like Johnny Bananas got like kind of worse and worse the more you saw him, but you also saw him forever.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But like, I just wonder like what we're seeing about Ashley now. Like,
Mm.
I just wonder like, do y'all think like that? Like, on the whole, do you see like the more and more we see him, the less and less? And are there like outliers there, like Anissa or something like that?
Me personally, I think Anissa and CT fall in that outlier kind of area. People are not going to vote for them because they're the vets that everybody likes. They're going to keep them around, don't want to ruffle any feathers because everybody likes them. CT, even when he got a little chubbier and not as athletic, people were still not voting for him and letting him skate around. They knew he was a competitor, though. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to go against that in elimination, regardless of what size he was. But at the same time, it's like, okay, keep him on your good side because he can sway votes for you. And he can, you know, he's been here for a while. So he's that vet. You know, he played the background and just kind of took in information. Johnny Bananas more so. He was the guy that got mad if you try to vote him in at the beginning. He would just, oh, you're making those kind of power moves? It's way too early to do that. You shouldn't do those kind of power moves, man. You don't know what you're doing. You're a rookie, this and that. No. He would even be there first and try to manipulate where people would sleep. Oh, you go to that room. There's rooms downstairs. You go here. You go. No, Johnny, come on now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he wasn't a
Yes,
suspect
it's like-
for 20 seasons.
Yes. Yeah, I think that with Johnny, characters like Johnny, he's like throwing his like clout around. And it's like CT is like, you know who it is, you know where I am.
He's
Yeah.
more,
I'm gonna
he's
watch,
low key.
but yes, let me stay in the background, but if you put me in, I'm gonna perform. So you better have made the right choice, because if I come back, it's all bad. But Johnny's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. It's like Ashley. I feel like Ashley's the same way. It's like, have to be big, have to be loud, have to be vocal.
Yeah.
And to intimidate people from putting you in so you don't have to perform. That's what I think Bananas does. Like, it's like you try to make sure people don't, and to the very last minute you have to, and then, that's how you get voted out or you lose,
So, and I just asked that question. That's how I feel about Nelson. I think like Nelson's been there long enough where it's like, I think he knows the game, right? And we know what happened with him last season. The only reason he got caught up because he got caught up by somebody that also, I don't want to say know the game because Fessy wasn't there that long, but it's kind of like he got put in a situation where he actually couldn't out physical somebody, basically.
Right.
And I feel like that could happen again this year. You know what I mean? Like, you know the game, you know the people. You're as a competitor, you're there. You do enough to stay week by week by week by week in the same way that like socially you do enough week by week by week. So I feel like as a vet voice, Nelson kind of makes sense because he's kind of like he's not in that too old category, and he's obviously not a rookie. So he's right in that sweet spot where he can talk his way through a good chunk of the game. But does he put that other part on where it's like you don't get caught up in the end like you did last time to get up over the hump?
Me personally, I think he's like the lovable loser. So they keep him around to make fun of him because he's good TV. They give him all these personal like interviews, and he just, if she keeps working good like that, it's gonna be great. Like he talks like what? Winnie the Pooh? Like what? What are you?
Like, what is this? This was not the Nelson that started the show.
Yeah.
This definitely got more and more cheesy.
And I think he'll keep getting crossed over. I think people will keep betraying him just to see him fall in his little speeches as he goes home. You know what I mean? I think people laugh when he competes. I don't know. I think they like Nelson, but just how they set him up each season, he's hooking up with Ashley now. Like
that's kind of random.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's kind of random.
He said that she moved to Austin, where he lives at, in the same town, so they've been hooking up.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So that's wild. It's kind of wild. But let's get into an actual show. So in the beginning of this show, it starts off with a challenge, episode 1, right with the challenge. We're kind of wondering what's going on. Where's the intro episode where we get to introduce everybody? We get to know who everybody is. I'm kind of confused. And I guess the day before there was a premiere episode where they kind of got us a little bit more in touch with who's going to participate and some of the participants and stuff like that. But we missed that. They didn't promote it enough, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Did you guys see it?
Yeah, I saw the preview episode, the kind of like teaser. Yeah, and I thought that they did some introductions, but it definitely has not been the extent of what we've seen in the past in terms of introducing where they came from, what's their motive, what show did they get, and it was very short. And I thought that they were going to redo it, like an extended version of that on the first episode, but they did, like you said, they jumped into the first kind of challenge. Yeah. So I'm wondering why, or is there like a special place we need to go find that? Because I do want to know some of these new people, because they good competitors, some of them thus far. And I'm like, where did you come from?
Like you said, they're from like Survivor and all that, from like different countries. Turkey. I miss Turbo. I really do.
Turbo.
Yeah, they're from like Survivor from a whole bunch of different places. Corey L, side note, what is 13 Days of Christmas?
I have no idea.
Has anybody ever seen that one?
No.
Yeah, he's like, because you guys know who Corey L is, right? He was in the first elimination.
He just went, he went on.
Yeah, he was huge, and he's some kind of athlete.
And I thought he was gonna do really, really well.
Yeah, he's American.
He's American.
Yeah, but I just don't. He said he was an athlete. He looks like he's huge. He's like.
But did he go home? I thought he won. Corey L.
He did.
Home.
He did actually win in this elimination. In this elimination. Because we'll get to a key point I want to talk about in this episode, why he was in the elimination, in my opinion.
Oh my God. Yes.
But yeah, so to start the episode off, we're just introduced to all these characters, names flashing, country flags flashing across the screen. we get like brief seconds of introduction, and they're just running around with sledgehammers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the key to this first challenge they just start us off with, they're running with sledgehammers. The veterans we know are like chained to these big cinder block pallets, and they're just like, come get me, help me, help me, help me. So in my eyes, this is already set up to who these partners are going to be. I feel like they're just like
I think there was something to it, but in that, I don't know if it was the first episode or that preview kind of special, they did get a docket of like a folder of like bets. Right. Really? And so they got a folder of bets. And so I guess they were doing their research. And they had to study who they wanted to partner with. But you could tell that some people are like, oh, I want Anissa. Or, oh, I want this person. I was like, how you know you want Anissa? Exactly. How you know you want this person? Like somebody coached you and somebody partnered you. Because also when they were running up on the first episode, it was like, this couldn't be a matter of who got there the first, so the fastest. Because the first person, I don't remember who the first person that chose. Like CT wasn't one of the first people that was chose. Exactly. Like some of these stronger competitors, you're running towards Nani, or you're running towards I don't know. It was weird
to pick,
and
Ashley,
it didn't make sense.
To pick Anissa. I think the first girl that was picked was Casey. I think.
Oh yeah, Casey was the very first.
Yeah, I think she might have been the first girl picked.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so they all came out in groups of 5. Yeah.
12 Dates of Christmas, where Corey L is from. It's apparently a show on HBO. So you can pull it up on HBO Max and get information from there.
I wonder if it's like a physical show. It doesn't sound like
it doesn't seem physical. It's a dating show.
Dating show.
Just context for that.
So best of Bias listeners, if you guys want to know who Corey L is, you've been watching the show and like, what's 12 Days of Christmas? 13?
12 Dates of Christmas.
12 Dates of Christmas. Check that out. You'll get a little closer look at who Corey L is. But yeah, for the first challenge, we got all these new rookie people from all over the world, Survivor contestants. I don't know if they're necessarily winners, but they're contestants.
Some of them were winners.
Some winners, some not, right? They come and they have to, do they unlock them first and then they break it? Or do they break it and then?
They break it to unlock them. Yeah.
And these big pallets with numbers and colored numbers all over the blocks. They had to break down the blocks, unlock the veterans, collect the chain, collect the safe that was inside, and then carry it to a destination, unlock the safe, then run to another destination with the jewel that was inside the case. So there's a lot of shit going on.
And they had to pay attention to the numbers and the color coding on the bricks.
That was tripping me out, because what I never really put together, maybe I was paying more attention than I was, did everybody have the same combination, or was it different based upon the bricks that was there? Because I feel like they had camera shots where the person next to them was trying to look at what they had put up on their little thing when they were trying to do it.
All the same.
But I thought that it was, but I couldn't really tell. But it was like, because like the people that was last, like they seem to be struggling forever.
Right.
And like,
I don't know. Yeah, I thought they just had random stuff and you guys had to remember it. It could have been all the same. That'll make it way easier for them. But it was an interesting challenge because some people were smashing the numbers, smashing the code before they can even read it. So they were kind of shit out of luck, but I guess they figured it out because only one person didn't. Yeah. So I guess they all ended up figuring it out.
I feel like someone's giving them a little tip.
Yeah. The producers, we can't stay out here forever.
I know. Right.
We got to get this going.
I was gonna say, in terms of like how it seemed kind of random how they picked their partners in the beginning, in the grand scheme of things, because of how often they do get to switch partners, I guess it wasn't that big of a deal. But at first, because back in the day, like who your partner was on the first day, that was your partner the whole season.
Right.
So we were not expecting them to be switching partners like that.
Right. But that was, I think, in terms of the format of the game that I found most exciting was that we didn't know that. They didn't know. Right. You know what I mean? Like when it came time for the consequence or whatever of how they're voting in or any of that, we didn't know that before. So it was kind of like, it sounded like, I mean, they made it seem like people knew, like there were certain people they were kind of like going for, Because I feel like they made it seem like it was like multiple people going for one person. It was like, you got there first. So like, I'll take you or whatever. So
yeah, they did that last season, right? With the CT and the Cam situation, or was that the season before?
Yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah,
I think that set a great like, ooh, this is gave us a little bit of tension at the beginning. Oh, how's this gonna play out?
How do they react to like people asking if that can be your partner? Yeah, just like in class when you're back in college or in high school, pick your partners, and it wasn't already assigned. You got to find somebody. Everybody be like, ooh. I'm already over here, partner. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting in the beginning, but yeah, after a while, to make a long story short, because a lot of the episode was this challenge, Anissa and her partner Gabo, I think it was Survivor Spain, I want to say, something like that. They finished first, and Anissa, she does really well in these first couple challenges in the last couple competitions. I think her and Fessy won a couple of the early challenges in the last season. So she's a really good early competitor, and she should be the most ready for this season because she was in All Stars, which was probably the last film season. I mean, who knows when they actually filmed that, but yeah, so she should be nice and ready to compete, and hopefully her veteran status can get her through, and people don't try to throw her in and kind of like, even though she kind of makes it towards the end.
Yeah, but if you look at the stack of the female competitors, she's pretty strong. Yeah, compared to the rest of the women that are competing. And I think that something that happens with Anissa is that, yes, like you said, she starts out strong and she does well in the mental like puzzle challenges and stuff, and then even some physical challenges. However, I think that people then start looking at her at some point as a layup, or as someone they can take out, or someone who won't make it to the end, or the guys like someone I don't want to carry through the final. And so then they start pitting towards Anissa. Like, I don't think Anissa ever gets the full chance to get to a final to prove her worth. Like she did in early days when she has gassed out. However, if you give Anissa a chance to really compete, she really steps up. But I just don't think she ever gets the chance to fully do that. Whether it's like even a flaw in her social game. Because sometimes people are like, oh, Anissa talks too much, or oh, Anissa did this, and then they start targeting her. Or it's the layup piece, or it's like whatever. So there's something that prevents Anissa every time from getting to the end. But if she were allowed to, I think that she would go pretty far, in my opinion.
And to this point, I mean, for this game, it's nothing's been overly physical.
Nothing. I think that Anissa can do this.
Yeah, until they hit her like, you gotta lift some shit and carry it like, 100 yards or something like that. Then we get into some issues. But to this point, she hasn't had to do that. So they hit her with a puzzle early. Bam, did that easy. Yeah. Then this one, she was able to throw the stuff from the thing. She didn't have to run from the car. So.
Yeah.
I was still personally impressed that she won the first challenge. I mean, everybody's still there, like everyone's fair game, and she won the challenge. I still think that's like pretty cool.
It's a really good like points to make in the beginning and let people know that you're a good competitor.
You are a pretty good competitor,
right?
For sure.
Unlike Ashley and his partner, I forgot his name. Was it like Herb? Hugh?
He's kind of funny.
Huey is his name.
Yeah.
Ashley and Huey, dude with the butt implants.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Because
I think he really wanted her, right? He really wanted Ashley as a partner.
Yeah.
Because Ashley was like, "Oh, clout as a good competitor from winning that challenge, stealing it from Hunter, which is nuts to me." After that,
she's never gonna live that down.
Never.
There's nothing that you can do to justify that.
Right, and she talks so much mess about stealing that money from him. It was $1 million at that point, I feel like.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So that's nuts. And people, I don't know. Corey was her partner for a while. I don't know how people do it. And the fact that I just remember her season. I remember her season vividly. How she got kicked out of the house and she's like, "Get out of my city," and Smashly. That's what
like it's just like her soul is not fine. Like it's like she may be a fun girl to like hang around with and party with and stuff, but it's like something about her is just toxic for me. It's like you like with relationships, like you get drunk and then you're jealous. You sense somebody is playing the game better than you, then you make yourself the victim and then you lash out. Like, and it's
Yeah.
like,
She
you stole the
victimizes
money.
herself
It's
all
like,
the
you're
time.
doing things that are like, this, it just irritates me.
Right, especially at the beginning because they did get in last place. You like how TJ tricked them and made it seem like they're gonna go home.
I actually thought they were gonna get sent
Yes.
home.
Yeah, at this point, I'm ready for Ashley to go home. I don't know why she keeps getting invited back. Like, yeah, if it was a single, like, if you had the top competitors in the show and had Ashley there as one of the top competitors, she would get kicked out first anyway. I feel like a lot of these shows, she almost gets kicked out first in the first place.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she just makes good TV.
Yes.
Exactly. We do need those characters from here and there, but at the same time, we don't need her.
Mhm.
There's so many different people. They bring in all these personalities from across the pond. That
Right.
like, you know what I mean? That we have enough
Good TV.
personalities. Yeah, we have Kyle. Just does enough talking for everybody and his corny self.
Mhm.
But
Teeth.
yeah,
I forgot Kyle was there. They haven't showed him really in the last
Yeah, they
episode.
haven't
He's-
showed him.
He's a bit more kind. Like I said, I think since he got
He's
the
a
new teeth,
dad.
he got
Yeah.
the teeth. He's a dad.
Or
Like,
hair,
he's just
hair
calm down.
implants. He got the hair
Or
implants.
Or he's just staying quiet for his social
Social
game.
game.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Just
Speaking-
Not trying to
make
sleep
me
with
the center
everybody
of attention.
anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the
right.
problem. He was sleeping with everybody, and they was like all turning on him because of that. But like now,
Yeah.
he's almost
Way
settling
low.
into that just cool middle of the way bet. Like I'm
Yeah.
there because they know me. They know I passed. But like, other than that, it's like I'm chill now. I'm good. So
Yeah.
Speaking of social game, let's talk about the Survivor players a little bit more. Michaela in particular. Her list. We can talk about Emmy too if you want, whichever one you want to talk about first. Emmy and Michaela. First of all, the Survivor people. I forgot what the redhead dude's name was,
I think
but
too, I don't
him,
remember him.
Morgan, right? Was her name Morgan?
Mm.
What's the girl from Survivor that won? Emily?
That
Oh,
one
no.
Survivor?
Yeah.
Yeah, she ended up going in the first elimination against.
What was her name? Whose name was
Michelle.
Morgan? Oh,
Michelle.
Michelle's her
Michelle,
name.
yeah.
There we go.
Oh
there we
yeah, yeah.
go. Shout out Michelle.
Michelle, I
won.
think I remember she played a really good social game.
Oh yeah,
She did.
she
And
won
that's the
her
only reason
season.
why she won.
Yeah, I was hella mad when she won that season off that.
It
And then
didn't really seem fair that she won because
Yeah.
all she played was a good social game. But I think she's doing pretty well in the challenge because she knows how important a social game is. So she
Mhm.
wants to be liked
Mhm.
Exactly.
and doesn't want a target on their back. So I
Yep.
feel like she's doing a good job.
But
so
she
far.
almost
Yes.
messed up early. Almost messed up early when her and Michaela and the redhead dude from Survivor, I don't know where. But they're making a list. It was a key component of that episode. There supposedly was a list they made of people that they want to, or vets more specifically, that they wanted to get off the table and wanted to eliminate, and the kind of hit list they created to just kind of pick off the veterans from the challenge one by one. And I guess one of the Survivor from overseas girls, Emmy, overheard the conversation they were having and used it to her advantage to go spread that news to the vets, to kind of join that alliance and to blow up the Survivor alliance and whatever plan they had going on. What do you guys think about that whole situation?
all right. So for me, I can't stand Emmy.
Yeah.
She's terrible
Mhm.
in the sense of like, I don't think she did herself any favors in that way, unless she's playing a long game. She's gonna surprise us with some physical stuff that we don't know. Like she literally did that. Like again, maybe she's not thinking of it as like rookies versus vets or anything like that. Other than the sense of if I tell on all these rookies, I don't have to ingratiate myself with them.
Mhm.
The vets are, that's the way I saw the move. Was like, to hell with the rookies. If the vets like me for giving them this information, that helps me go a long way. So that's what it felt like that they were doing to me.
Yeah, but can I chime in there? One thing that's different about Survivor and the challenge is that you're in. I'm sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of breaking up a little bit on our end.
Mhm.
But one thing that's different about Survivor versus the challenge you're in one house.
Mhm.
Survivor, you're on two different beaches or
Yeah.
for different teams.
Yeah.
So when you start feeding lies,
Yeah.
it circulates your camp, then it trickles like telephone.
Yep.
The house, it trickles like telephone, but then it comes to a head real
Oh,
quick.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
It's less
because
there.
They need
Yeah, you get
someone
found out.
they need someone to go after.
Yeah.
There's too many people in the house. They need a reason to go after
Yes.
someone.
Mhm.
And so
And
that's
so
gonna
you gave them a
backfire on
reason.
Emmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like Emmy may have been able to pull that on Survivor. and do the crying game, like, oh my gosh, I'm the victim on Survivor. Because one, people feel more sorry for you on Survivor. Then they want to protect you on Survivor to have you be in their alliance or whatever. And you're on separate beaches. The challenge, you already have your alliance. You're not in it. You're doing this, like, easy target. So anybody that's not in an alliance with Emmy, which I don't think she's formed yet outside of Survivor, like, that's going to backfire on her. So she's looking more crazy than she is as, like, somebody I need to protect.
They're still not going to trust her because she went against her alliance, which was Survivor. So now you look like you're untrustworthy.
But then also, I think it could buy her some time if she already knows.
It'll buy her time for sure.
It buys her time to pick off all these other rookies. And then when it comes down to, okay, the veterans are going against each other, she will be the lowest at her the totem pole, but maybe she'll make enough moves as to where she can try to ingratiate herself, but at the same time work her way up to where she's not at the bottom of the pecking order. Maybe Josh can be still at the bottom of the pecking order because nobody really respects Josh, to be honest. You know what I mean? So I don't think
until Josh and Emmy end up on the same team.
Right. They're using him as the mouthpiece of the vets just so the rookies can have somebody to go after. He's the head.
They have to hide behind Josh. He's like, oh gosh, let Josh dig himself into a grave.
Right.
And we'll hide behind it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about briefly some of the hookups here because they kind of, actually, let's talk about the confrontation. So after the veterans kind of get wind of what Michaela has going on, these vets, they're smart. Once they hear the wind of somebody coming after them, they're going to play save my ass. They're going to play that game no matter what. So even if they hear it, they're going to try to spin it into, okay, we're going to survive. We're going to make this, we're going to get that person out of here before they make a move on us. We're going to take a couple of the rookies to say, oh, we're vets. We can protect you. We know the game. Join our side. We can protect you, get the numbers, and you'll be here for a while. So based on that little fib, we don't know if it's true or not. Do we actually see the list? Emmy doesn't,
she brought it out. She confirmed it.
There is a list. Yeah,
there is a list, but did they confirm that there was a hit list, or did they?
No.
So this is a problem, and this is a problem with Michaela. There was nothing wrong with her having the conversation that she had. I think that everybody else would understand. Rookies come together like vets would come together, right? Maybe writing it down wasn't the smartest thing in the world. But I don't even think that was the biggest problem what she did. It was when the information came out, she freaked out. She panicked. It was like,
because that's what they're used to doing on Survivor.
Yeah, that was
on Survivor. When somebody calls you out on Survivor, you show your cards
right away.
You show your cards to build trust back. It's like, oh, I can be trustworthy. Oh, I have. I'll show you I have an item.
They'll get rid of you for nothing on Survivor.
Right. But on the challenge, play dumb. I don't know anything. What are you talking about? No.
She didn't play the best game on Survivor either.
No, she didn't. She was very emotional in Survivor.
Yes.
And, the lasting actually image of her is the meme is her drinking the tea because she had gotten voted out by that time.
She was so bitter.
She was like, I told y'all and all that stuff.
She was so bitter that she made herself look like I don't know, like somebody couldn't trust and like
on the fire or something like that.
She did something like that.
Yeah.
It was petty.
But that was like her, and I think she was playing a good game up to that point in Survivor.
Right.
Whereas on here, I think where she was starting to go, it made sense. I don't know why she wrote it down, but also that really wouldn't have even gotten out like that if Emmy hadn't have said anything. Like Emmy doing that part was completely out of left field for no reason. Emmy had no reason to run and tell that to anybody else, as if like she was in trouble.
Right.
And like she's literally like, oh, I saw something. I'm gonna go tell.
I know a lot of people like her.
Her partner wasn't even not a vet. Her partner is a rookie, right? Which again makes it more nonsensical.
Yeah.
Was it Devin?
No, because Devin wasn't in challenge. Unless he switched
after winning her elimination in the second episode. It was Emmy
was
her partner.
Coriel, right?
No.
Yeah, Coriel was
Coriel
Emmy's
won the
partner.
first challenge. The first.
It was Emmy's
elimination.
partner.
Yeah, because that's why they put him in for being associated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So who ended up being her partner after that? I still don't think it was
Devin's his partner after she won elimination. After she won with Ed, that comes in the second episode.
So Ed. So she was with Ed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that at that point your partner, and that's why Coriel got sent in because she did that,
Exactly,
and that put the spotlight on them.
Yeah, and then when they announced the
you can send out one.
The rules, I was like, oh, he's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Emmy put the spotlight on him. She was safe.
Yeah.
And now that's what bothered me. That's why I was so mad why I don't like her, because her actions actually didn't end up affecting her. It affected Coriel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, I'm done with you forever. Like, nope, you're trash.
That pissed me off too, because we didn't know the twist where they got to pick anybody. And so they just defaulted to Coriel, even though you're not going to send Emmy in, who deserved it. And that was the original plot.
And that was nuts.
Absolutely.
But that brings up the major point I wanted to talk about. They always send in the black people in. Since way back when. Want me to rhyme again? Because I can do it. They just been doing it forever, man. And it's kind of getting annoying. They don't default. They make it seem like they're defaulting to rookies or the most competitive players. But a lot of the times the rookies are the, black people, or the most competitive people are the black people. So they use it both ways, just to send them in eliminations first before we even get to meet them, before we even get to know them. They've been doing it forever. Back in who was the first couple that I started noticing it with? Brendan. Remember Brendan in the challenge?
Way back when.
Yeah, he was from Real World. Road Rules or something like that. They just keep doing it. They do it all the time with Leroy. They did it with
Leroy.
With Ty.
A lot of the black women.
Nehemiah.
Yes.
Latoya.
Yes.
All these people go in first all the time. I don't know if it's an MTV thing. I don't know. I'm sure it's not the people in the game. What do you guys feel about that? After a while, I just kind of I don't know. I just kind of thought they were doing it on purpose.
I don't know if this is an overarching theory. I think you touched on the first part, right? That in most cases they're actually physically competitive. I just think that's the people that they end up putting up on there. They are. I don't think that's feeding into a stereotype or anything like that. I just think that they just happen to be who they is. Like, physically, they're good. I think that maybe this is because it's on MTV, that those same people are people who are able to play a little bit better of a social game, because they tend to be also admired by other people on the cast. So therefore, if I like getting good, whether that's socially or I getting good sex-wise with this person, I'm now ingratiated with this part of the group and all that stuff, and that builds them some space as well. So yeah, I don't think they play it that way, like intentionally, or they like MTV, or it plays out that way in how they're producing it. But what I've seen to be the truth for me is that they are physically tend to be better in their concern. The rest of the cast is, or when they get their little boo on the other side, everybody else gets concerned. They try to nip it in the bud as well. That's what I see.
I also think that just in terms of MTV's history, the people that they have allowed on the challenges have been predominantly white. And they just recently started adding black characters to the cast.
Yep.
And therefore they are rookies. And therefore they then are in the pecking order and they go first. And therefore they don't get enough time to really develop their clout as some of these other players have, unless they're like a Darrell, unless they're like a Nehemiah has been around for a while, Leroy has been around for a while. But those were really, I'm sorry. And then before that, well, when you think about real world, I don't know if Cyrus competed in a challenge. Yes, he did. Before there were one or two here and there that were considered vets, but then they didn't continue, right? And then we have those that do continue. And then we just have recent like 2000 waves where we've gotten a big uptick in Black characters. And then you're considered a rookie, and then they like try to peck you off. Unless you're Anissa, Nehemiah, Leroy, or Darrell. Like, that's my thing. It's like otherwise you're for the pickings because you're like newer.
But those last 4 years, some of them have also been the people who they were kind of targeted at first, but they've also again and again, not like episode to episode, I'm saying season over season,
Proving themselves.
kind of proving themselves. Yeah, they might not have necessarily won, but they were never an easy out.
No.
They played a good game. They didn't necessarily. I think if they had out loud say what you're saying now, Pat, they might have played a little bit differently. However, in their games when they do it, they don't cry about it I don't want to say it's like they don't complain about it that way. They just go, they show, they prove.
Yeah.
And so therefore they got some respect.
Yeah.
And once they get that respect, it's a little bit less of picking on them because of that.
Yeah.
My thing is, how come with the people that have been on the cast, they should have mentioned it once. How come it never made the air? I know Latoya.
Cam did. Cam did.
Did she?
Cam did last season. Yes. I love and respect Cam for this because she won. It's very recent. She's still, in my eyes, a rookie. But she's a rookie that really hit the ground like she did it.
Oh, she got her strike
immediately. You're not coming for Cam.
Right.
You're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have Anissa and you have Cam.
Anissa's from the old
And
hat.
then they brought for the vets. What is that? The All Stars. They brought Arissa back.
Yeah, didn't compete.
Okay. Who you are like Big T? Okay. Big T is gonna get to be a veteran before we know it, but she's not gonna have won anything because Big T is like someone that they bring around because she's so lovable. She is like a great social player because she's just so lovable, but she's not the most competitive player, but people will bring her along. But she also will become a vet because of that. Right. And I think that like Black women, those are the three that I can say are vets.
Right. Yeah. I kind of agree. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
You guys keep competing, man. There's a lot of people of color on this season, so they can't eliminate. If they all go home in a row, then I'm gonna have something to say. Because
Team Master,
it's already 2 in a row.
Yeah, it's already 2 in a row. So let's talk about the elimination a little bit. Let's get there so we can just speed through episode 2. In this first elimination, from getting they just did a house vote because getting last place had no ramifications in this first challenge.
Right.
So the house vote ended up being
Michaela.
It was obviously Michaela and her partner. I don't even know who her partner was.
Ronan.
Oh yeah, Renan, something like that. And then there was a twist when they got down to the gauntlet. Is that what it's called now? The gauntlet? I don't know.
What do they call it?
I've been watching so many of the episodes. Sorry guys, I've been they're getting all messed in my head. The elimination chamber. The elimination chamber. Was a game called Back Up Off Me. That's what I'm gonna call it. Basically, but before we get to that, the power couple, the agency, it was Anissa and of course Gabo. They both got to pick an individual from each team this time. It didn't matter who it was. They could pick any individual, and that person has to come down and compete against the people that were the house vote. Like we said, the fallout of the Emmy situation, I guess they defaulted to Corey L, which was kind of crazy because he had nothing to do with anything. And the girl that they chose was Michelle because she was part of Survivor. It was a smart play, power player. She did win on Survivor, so her social game is up there. They want to get rid of her. So the game is called Back Up Off Me. The teams are strapped together. There's a platform that was slanted on both sides. They started in the middle. It had railings on it. The first person to scoot off their side and pull their team, the opposite team down with them, won the challenge, and the other team was sent home. So basically, to make a long story short, Corey L, who was like 6'4", big buff black man, pretty much took these 3 people and slid across this formation by itself and took everybody off the thing, sending Renan and Michaela home. How did you guys feel about this elimination? And how was it? It was a little different, a different kind of physical challenge other than hall brawl or steal the X from the guy or throw the ball in the hole. It was a little different. How'd you guys like it?
Different, but like at the same time, like you said, Coriel was a star. Like he dragged all three of them, like including his teammate, right? And I actually, I remember being confused at the beginning, right? Because I didn't know, you kind of didn't know right away if it was going to be like 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, however it's going to be set up, right? But even then, at that point, it was just kind of like he beasted that whole thing, and like I feel like he spoke a little bit to this as well. It's kind of like to him and his orientation, right? I don't know if people perceive him to be weak because of that or a threat because he was big or anything like that. But like whatever the perceived threat was, I think it played itself out in the actual challenge, right? Because he carried that whole thing by himself.
Oh yeah, that was a terrible choice if they actually knew what they were doing.
Right.
But that's the thing, you never like. I think that's a normal part that you never know what you're walking into.
Right.
And I think they call it the layer. That's what it's called.
Okay.
You never know what you're walking into.
I think it was a strategic move. Like it was like, okay, we keep it with Coriel, send him down. If he loses, we send out a good player in him. If he comes back, great. You know, it was like less of thinking about him because they don't know him because he's a rookie.
Right.
But it was like more so of like, okay, because we don't know him, we can use this as an opportunity to get out someone good and not ruffle any feathers on this first vote. And it could also have been let him prove himself.
Yeah. Yep. And he did. Scooted
did.
all right on off that platform. The other team didn't have no kind of chance. Made him look crazy.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, did he flip around? Did he lose? What happened?
Right, yeah.
I was like, was he supposed to go off that side or that side?
Right.
Like,
I was a little confused by the challenge too.
Yeah.
Like, I think if everyone was evenly matched, that challenge would have lasted forever.
Yeah.
Like, how hard is it to get them all the way across to the other side?
Right. I thought they had to like try to stay on while the other team, whoever fell off first, lost.
yes.
I was confused. Like, what's going on? Coriel's about to fall off the side.
I know. I was like, oh, he's falling off.
Yeah. But he did end up winning. And of course, if you watched last season, you saw there was a twist every time a competitor won in elimination. This season, you're not getting skulls or anything, but you did have a chance to infiltrate one of the teams on the cast, steal any partner from anyone, just like they did last year. And it was pretty interesting. Coriel, since he won, he switched his partner to Tori, right? He grabbed Tori. Mm-hmm. I think Tori's gonna be a hot commodity around the house as people win eliminations.
She's definitely the strongest girl.
Right, yeah, she's showed and proved. Well, that girl from Nigeria in the next episode.
Who, Esther? Team Esther.
Nah. Oh,
the strongest girl that's proven herself.
I don't know Esther. No, I'm just thinking.
No, I like her.
No, I'm saying that this point of Tori being the strongest girl.
Yeah.
Like Casey's out there.
I don't think Casey is the strongest girl. Let me put it out there.
Yeah.
I don't think Casey's proven herself enough.
Tori?
No.
Tori got smacked by Anissa in that medicine ball challenge, didn't she? Wasn't that?
I don't know. Like Tori's mid. She's there. She's a vet, so therefore she has cachet as being there.
She's very strong.
And she doesn't get sent home right away. But has she ever also won either?
Tori?
I don't think she has. She's won a full challenge, all the way to the end. She's just someone that's been in the middle the whole time. She's never won the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe. I think actually she did. She won with the War of the Worlds when she was on Team UK with Jordan and CT.
So they carried
it. Yeah. She lost or she won elimination and switched sides, and she ended up on Team UK with CT in them. But yeah, so after the girl that won, it was Michelle that won. So surprisingly, she picked Devin. Devin's also a hot commodity this season as we get to episode 2. They like his masterful planning and how he can get into people's heads and how he knows the game and his cachet from getting third place. That's as far as he got so far as we watched, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So that kind of brings us into episode 2. Episode 2, I think less happened in this one, I would say. It was more so speaking on past drama and gave Nelson the spotlight and a little bit more Josh the spotlight, which was really interesting to me. The challenge wasn't that interesting to me either. It was cool in concept, but I feel like it was really easy.
I liked how Esther got her moment though.
Esther!
Awesome.
Doing it for Nigeria. I love it. I love
that
it.
was awesome.
I love it.
My thing is Corey, man. Corey sometimes makes the worst decisions as to what his partner and him are going to do. For some reason, he decided to be in the airplane or the helicopter. And his partner, who's his partner?
Not Coriel. Not Coriel. Corey.
No, Corey. Corey with the braids now.
Corey Tindrell.
Yeah, Corey Tindrell.
Yeah, I don't know who his partner is at this point. But yeah, he chose to be inside the helicopter.
The little Swedish girl. She's like black hair.
Oh,
like,
with the laugh.
With the laugh.
That
That was
Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! We've watched the episode a couple of times, and every time we're like,
Yeah.
Bettina.
It goes on for way too long. Bettina's her name?
But in this case, did Corey pick her or did she pick him from the
She picked him.
Yeah.
She picked him. But at the same time, it's like he chose to be in the helicopter to throw down the beanbags to her in the car.
Yeah.
What if there's strategy in that?
It might be. My thing.
What if there's a long play to get rid of her?
That's
You have to.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Like
I've done that.
being able to switch partners every season like that, or every challenge, that's gonna definitely play a part in like how they perform if they don't
Like
want to be.
Corey
with
wrote that
partner.
last time. Like, remember they thought he was jinxed because all his partners kept going home,
Yeah.
and then he made it.
Yeah.
to the end.
Yeah, but I think
So maybe that's his strategy. Cycle through.
He wants to cycle through, test all.
Yeah.
Like I lose, so therefore, like they're not gonna pick me, but like I'm
Yeah.
towards the bottom. And I don't know. I'm purely speculating, but that could be part of his strategy. In the same way that I think with Devin, that might be where his benefit is.
Yeah.
That once he understands the rules of the game, he can long play this whole thing. 'Cause I feel like I've seen him play strategy 3 episodes down the line.
you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I was saying that like that might be the benefit of Devin and how like his strategy and the way that he understands the game once he knows the rules. That like he might be playing a strategy 3 episodes down the line.
Oh yeah,
That finally comes to fruition. So there
Mhm.
could be benefit in that him understanding the rules. I don't know.
Unless you have a spy like Johnny Bananas or Wes pop up out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Kyle can be the only thorn in his thigh, I think. I think that this is his season to actually ride it out and win, even though he kind of got a little rounder. You guys see his face? He's looking a little chunky.
Yeah.
He's looking a little chunksters. But yeah, she did pick Devin, and Devin, you know, in the second episode, I guess they kind of just, like I said, just talked about old drama, how Fessy, you know, double-crossed Nelson, and how he felt about that. And Nelson, it's like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. You let that happen. You should be, you know what I mean? You let those guys, you're the bottom of the totem pole in that group, in that alliance.
That was coming off that first episode where that was when they got done drinking and all that stuff. So he's kind of like,
Yeah.
I got emotions to get off and all that stuff type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it really had an impact on the game.
Yeah.
It was just him doing that.
Yeah. Before I answer, quick question. Do you edit this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I go to the bathroom?
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. No, you're good.
I know.
You're straight.
Didn't you see the text?
Oh no, I didn't do anything, but you're straight. Don't worry about it. Yeah, she's going to the bathroom, guys. But anyways, yeah. Nelson himself in this episode is just kind of digging himself a hole. He always does when it comes to the ladies, especially. Either he, you know, yells at a girl, cusses her out, or in the case of this episode, he's hooking up with too many girls. What's her name? Berna. Berna is a girl in the show. He's getting kind of close with, but he already hooked up with Ashley in like the first episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After he's cuddling with Berna, he goes and hooks up with Ashley. And if we all know Ashley's character, we know how she blows up when she gets jealous or something's not going her way. And we saw those evil eyes in this episode. What do you guys feel about Ashley and how she was acting towards Nelson? What do you feel about Nelson doing what he's doing?
For disaster.
Yeah. Evil drunken eyes on Ashley's part, which is not surprising. Again, that's kind of par for the course. On Nelson's part, I think it was a bit messy. I think he could have played that a bit tweener. Let me say it that. That, and again, that can just be a flaw in his game actually overall, right? I don't think Nelson actually has the best track record women-wise in these challenges either, right? That's a blind spot in his game that he's just kind of like, oh, it's there, I can do it. It's like, and it happens, and it doesn't necessarily work in his favor. Those end up being the vote or two that he ends up losing in the long run.
Exactly.
That gets him put in the corner, gets him voted into stuff, and then he's mad why certain people voted him in. You could have played a couple things a different way. They can't strategize against you if you play it differently. So,
yeah, how you feel about Nelson? I know how you feel about Nelson.
Yeah, I lost respect for Nelson last season after he said those things to Amanda. What did he call her? Like,
call her like the most
foul.
human
Like, I just
being.
don't like that word at all. Like, you don't call a woman foul, especially because she didn't really deserve it. And so I just don't like Nelson. And I don't think he respects Amanda at all for doing that to her. And Amanda's crazy too. So, or Ashley. I mean, Ashley.
And you're talking about he was talking shit to Kayla. It's Kayla.
Oh, it was Kayla he called foul.
He
Okay.
called Kayla foul and said go have sex in a porta potty again. And
yeah.
all this other stuff, all that kind of stuff about Kayla. Remember how Nelson went off on Kayla that one season?
It was like 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah. So he's always been kind of like talking himself in the holes.
Yeah.
And I think it's another proof to his homies let him do the stupid shit that he does. Like Corey, not once, don't do that because it's gonna mess up your game. No, because they know if they're gonna go after somebody in that alliance, they're gonna go after Nelson first. So it's like, okay, let him do what he's gonna do. Just let him do it. He's talking, being Mr. Big and Bad now. This is how the challenge goes. This is how we're gonna do things. This is that. I think he even tried to give the Johnny Banana speech. I don't know if you guys know this. He gave Johnny Bananas gives this toast every season at the beginning, and they all kind of like drench him with water and stuff. After he takes the shot and after he does the toast or whatever. And Nelson tried to take that role and actually do that. And I'm like, oh man, Nelson, you're not the one.
You're not a banana. You're not.
Right. And we actually get to see, because this, for some reason in episode 2, a lot of the episode is these guys working out and showing how buff everybody is. I don't really get why they're doing it. It's just really dumb. But Kels, a character from Too Hot to Handle. I don't know if you guys seen that on Netflix. I think it is MTV, Netflix.
Too Hot to Handle. I didn't see his season, but I've heard of the show.
Well, yeah, it's wild, and he was really kind of like soft-spoken. He didn't really talk that much in that show either. He's kind of played his role and tried to win the competition show. I guess that show is kind of about. I don't guess I've seen the show. It's like the people on the show supposedly are just like sex fiends, I guess, and they couldn't have sex or hook up for the whole show. And if they didn't, they won a bunch of money.
Yeah, I've seen the show.
Yeah. And he was one of the guys in the show who's like, nah, I don't care how hot you are. 100,000, like was like $1 million. I'm not about to mess that up. And some people were stupidly just having sex and hooking up and just like, y'all are stupid.
Like,
and then
stop.
he was on X on the Beach because he dated Angela.
Yep. So he was on a couple of MTV shows.
Yeah.
He was a big guy. I think he played soccer back in England or something. Like he was some kind of athlete. So they're intimidated by him from day one. He was getting really close to Tori. He was snuggling up with Tori. So they kind of didn't want that alliance to like bloom.
Yeah.
So they kind of took it upon themselves, and this is kind of Josh's ultimate plan. He put together a scheme to make it seem like Kels was making deals with everybody to kind of get him voted in for the House vote. How do you guys feel about Josh being the ultimate schemer?
Well, again, Josh trash.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I noticed in that second episode, like where the threat is, I get it, right? And I think, sometimes you don't necessarily always see all of them in one shot for long enough to understand how big they are next to one another. But there was one shot where like Corey walked up to Kels, Nelson walked up to Kels, and Kels looked like DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nelson is small. He's like buff and small, but Kels is huge. He's giant.
Yeah. He was like,
and so he's a threat visually off top, right? Yeah. And so, but otherwise, I think Josh is just trying to play the rookie vet trope,
Yeah.
like I make a move, get somebody out type of thing. And people fell for it, but I also think Josh is one of those people that you carry along until it's time to get rid of him, because when it's time to get rid of him, he's not going to do anything to save himself. So
right.
And he's putting his own target on his back anyways, doing what he's doing in terms of the rookies, because if the rookies get power, now they're going to go after Josh.
Right.
But-
And they kind of just showed all his cards when he called them out in the deliberation. When they was like, who did I make a deal with? Did I make a deal with you? Did I make a deal
Right.
with you?
Yeah.
He was like, nope. And they were kind of calling Josh out, and he was just kind of smiling. Well, I'm gonna vote for you anyway. That's my Josh voice. I'm gonna vote for you anyways, and sorry, man.
And all they gotta do is get Devin, and Devin gets on one rookie side. They're gonna fold Josh into a 9.
Yeah.
That's probably what's gonna happen. Because if you look at it, all the veterans are kind of the bad guys. All it takes really is for Corey to flip, Nelson to flip, Devin to flip, and then you got Fessy, a villain. You got who else? Who we just talking about? Who we just talking about? Lost my train of thought.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh is going to be the main villain. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of people to target on the veteran squad, and I don't think it's going to work out for him in the long run.
Yeah, and I feel like they're almost trying to spin Fessy as almost trying to change him to a good guy, because he's doing he's fasting or whatever.
For
So he
Ramadan,
can't-
yeah.
They're humanizing him.
They're huge, and which I think will buy him empathy and sympathy, which kind of will make him a good guy until he does some shady stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like so far to this point, it's like it's even out for him.
Yeah.
But we'll
Yeah. So one thing that's also interesting, like if you think about the different dynamics and the allyships and the who versus who, like there are the rookies and the vets, but there's also US versus international, right?
Mhm.
And then you have a person like Kyle, right? Kyle's kind of like a vet, trickling into the vet, even though he's been on so many challenges, but he hasn't really won anything, but he's on the international team. And so he has this dynamic where he can pull a lot of people in different ways, and he's a villain. So he's very, very powerful in this game. Kyle is like, I think that there's going to be at least one episode dedicated to Kyle's trickery.
And
that he's going to
deceit.
pull this. Yes.
Yeah. He always
Yes.
gets caught. He always.
Always.
And he be
Always.
lying.
That's a really
He be
good point that you
lying.
made about because most of the vets that are on there, like Kyle, particularly
He's the
because he
vet
was,
from on the
from the
international
international
Mhm.
side, that can buy some votes or some relationships with him, with so many people we have from Romania and all these
Oh
different
yeah.
places. I
Absolutely.
hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Him being a vet from over, yeah, definitely. That's all it takes, because I'm telling you, these vets on that other, CT's there still, huh? Yeah,
Mhm.
he's there, flying under the radar. But yeah, let's get over the challenge a little bit. Like we said already, they partnered up and they're throwing the bean bags into a moving car. One of the partners had to catch the bean bags, collect as many as they can, and run them to the finish line. Fastest, person to catch the most bean bags wins the challenge. But before that, a lot of the characters have been dropping out, and they've been replacing not a lot, but a couple of characters have dropped out.
Yeah.
Might have been due to COVID. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But due to that, we get Amber B's return.
Yeah.
And we also get a special appearance from Ed from the Circle,
Yeah.
who end up being key components to this actual episode, because
Yeah.
Amber B ends up winning the challenge with her partner, correct? What?
I think so.
Yeah,
Josh, no? Josh was her
it
partner.
was Josh. It was Josh.
I don't think they won though. Esther won.
Esther
Esther
and
and
her
Fessy.
partner won.
And
Yeah.
Fessy.
Esther and Fessy
Yes.
won. Yeah, they got Esther. Boy, oh boy.
Hey, Team Esther.
Mhm.
If Fessy was catching them, my personal strategy for that challenge would have been just throw it in the sunroof hole. Just
Mhm.
use that person as a backboard,
Mhm.
off the chest. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Corey,
Drop.
Corey,
Drop.
just be in there, use your
Drop.
big old chest, tell her to throw it at your chest, and it'll fall right down.
Yes, as
Did-
long as you
did
keep
they have
it
goggles?
drop. Drop. Mhm.
Did they have goggles
I
on?
don't remember.
I don't
Well, I
think
didn't
so.
know, man. If you catch one in the eye, it's all bad.
Oh yeah, it'll be bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It might have been bad for that. But yeah, and that all brings us down to the elimination. Last place, I believe, was it Kels and No.
No,
It was
Kels the most
it
vote.
was Emmy and Ed
And
came in last place. They didn't perform too well. The House vote ended up being Kels. Like we said, Josh influenced everybody to throw Kels in there. Him and his partner, he didn't have his partner.
And his partner was black hair. I want to say Therese. No.
I forgot her name. She was the one that was she was from somewhere. Like I think it was like in South America or something.
Tracy. I was close. Therese. Her name is Tracy.
Tracy, okay. Yeah. And it was a crazy elimination. Kels, I don't know, Kels and his partner, I felt like they were gonna come back and win. At first, Emmy and Ed were going at it. Basically, the challenge was the girls were strapped to this contraption, and they had this like rope with a magnet attached to the end. There was blocks that were puzzle pieces. They had attached the metal rope or the magnet rope to the magnet side of the squares. The magnet could be placed on any side of these squares that were assorted, amongst a allotted area. So basically, they all had to pick them up. Whoever picked them up the fastest and arranged the map fastest got to stay, eliminating the other team. What do you guys feel about the elimination? Well, this comes to another topic I want to talk about. Do you think it was fair to have this kind of elimination and be the decision for the whole team to go home? Do you think this is?
It was fair. Because you kind of make that decision, right? Like, we don't know how heavy that crate was. The thing that they were sitting on, if you had to put it back and forth to get it, we don't know how heavy that was, right? So to make the assumption that the girls could or couldn't do it, who's that to say, right? I think that honestly, whether it was or not, the way that it played out for this challenge, it was even. The girls were on the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that was what it was. So it kind of ended up being a very not necessarily specific, but it was a skill thing. Who was going to get the little magnet thing and
had the touch
the most? Because I don't think the other part, the puzzle that was on the pieces, ended up playing a role like that. Which to me, on the whole, it just ends up being fair. It's not like it's very. I don't know. There's nothing specific about the challenge that you needed to be able to be good at one way or the other to be able to do it. Because once you got all the pieces up, it seemed like they figured out the puzzle very quickly.
Right.
You can see it was a globe. You can see it was a map.
So it's just a matter of like, can you figure out the way to get the magnet on the right part of the box to get the box up? With in that space, the way the producers made it seem like was that Tracy was not picking up the pieces the right way.
Yeah,
she pulled everything from the rope. Like, it wasn't necessarily like walking and trying to make sure you got the piece. She just held the magnet, and once Kel started trying to flip it, the piece would fall off. And that's what put them behind early, and they were never able to catch up that way. The only time they was able to catch up was when Emmy couldn't get that last.
You're going in and out a little bit again. Got to scoot closer? Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying that Emmy couldn't get that last square because it was flipped over. So she had to get the magnet But they figured that out and they was good. So I guess I don't have a problem with the challenge. If anything, it neutralized what maybe Kels would have had a strength in.
Right. Yeah, I think that would have been mad if I was Kels, because all he got to do
was
just pull in the rope.
He wanted home crawl. He wanted home crawl. Oh gosh, so
yeah, I'm all for it. My thing is I want it to be, it doesn't have to be an individual physical elimination type thing. Just make it one-on-one with the other person, so that your partner, I mean, I don't know, just so he can be more involved. So say like it was a puzzle elimination, make them both do the puzzle. You know what I'm saying? Whoever does the fastest combined time wins. Or something like that. If it's physical, do whoever wins the most physical in a certain amount of time.
Well, it sounds like you're gonna hate the whole season.
I think that's what makes it shady, because like you're saying you can vote down individual players, yet they're competing as a team.
Right.
It's like, you can vote me down individually, but I'm competing individually too.
Right.
Because I need to prove myself. I don't want you bringing me down, which is the kind of spin they put on it.
Uh-oh, scoot up again. Can't hear you.
Like I said, I think there's strategy in that. There's either play to make sure you whip someone, that if your team is voted in, we're good in the challenge. Or on the other end, you play the game of making sure that when I vote people in, like whose team are they on, with the idea that the later you see the game, you're going to be strong people no matter what. I think that's.
Oh, just keep going in and out. It keeps going out on you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I was just saying your team is playing. So.
No, yeah, I feel what you're saying for sure. Yeah, I just I have big expectations for the season. I want every year to be elevated, every year to be better than the last. There's big opportunities for people that haven't won this season to actually win, and do their thing. And I'm excited for tomorrow's episode. Depending on when I drop this, it might be tomorrow. But hey, I want you guys to let them know. You guys have been wonderful. This comes to the end of the episode where I like to let everybody know where they can find you at. I want you to shout out where they can find you, anything you got going on. Just let them know. So let's start with V-Ronz over here.
You can find me on Instagram, Veronica Keller. And one thing I want to say, I actually just had a thought. Spies, Lies, and Allies, Johnny Bananas is going to be a spy.
Something.
I'm just going to call that out now. Because I
Something.
know that he was away for months at a time, same amount of time Corey was away, and then came back around the same time.
How
as
you
Corey.
know that? How?
Because I follow him on Instagram, and you can tell when they stop posting and then when they get back. And he's been gone. It was like 3 months. But then I just realized he wasn't on this season. So he's going to come back as a spy.
Oh.
Well, the way
Yeah,
people
I'm
been
just gonna leave it
leaving,
at that.
maybe you never know.
Yeah.
All right, young Yankydoodle. Let them know where they can find you at and what you got going on, player.
Yeah, man. So y'all can find me on Instagram, Yankee.
Oh, you got to talk louder. They can't hear you right now.
Oh, Yankydoodle, Yanky Doodle 1906. You can find me on there, or on Twitter, Yankydoodle. And education. Man, I work at school, so it's the beginning of the school year. Anytime anybody want to ask questions about school, education, whatever, I'm here.
Okay, so anything you want to know about school and education, holla at him. Absolutely. AKA put your title down there at the bottom where you can find you at. Okay, Amber, how about you?
Yes, Mrs. Bundy Davis, Instagram. Also check out Morgasms. Morgasms, please, on Instagram.
Yes.
If you're looking for relationship and intimacy, coaching, consulting, advice, follow Morgasms.
Absolutely. And you know where to find your boy at, SAC_Lydell on the Instagram, Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat. If you're looking for the podcast, of course, it's bestofbias.com. Every episode is posted there. You can hear this lovely episode posted there. Also on the YouTube, Best of Bias, same name. Instagram, guess what? It's the same name again. Like, subscribe, comment on all that kind of good stuff. Anywhere you find your favorite podcasts, we got Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. New episodes, new content coming always. We got a pop culture episode coming up. If you guys want to take part in that, let me know. Got a lot of crazy topics to talk about real soon. Anime Kumite coming real soon. We got some characters to battle out here. And What If episode 3, What If comes out tomorrow. So we'll be reviewing that as well. So plenty of content to look forward to. Keep coming back. Keep subscribing. It's the Best of Bias podcast. And like I always like to say, where is my theme song? It's right here, though. All right. See y'all later.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of